Perl tutorial part 33, file test operators. Okay, so in our work directory here, we've got our script, we've got our folder, and we've got some files. Now, file test operators can retrieve information about files and directories. So the first one is we can check whether to see whether a file exists or not, or whether a directory exists. So we can simply print. Now this is the E file test operator, and we want to check whether our file.txt exists. So if this is true, it will return a 1, and if it's not, it won't return anything. So let's run this, and yes, it returns a 1 because our file does exist. And if our file does not exist, it does not return anything. So that's a very useful function to check whether a file exists. Now this can also apply to a directory, so we can check to see whether directory 1 exists, and it does. We get the 1. Now we can write a little if-else statement that will help us check whether a file exists, and we can print out a response. Okay, so we can say if the file exists, let's print file exists, else file doesn't exist. Okay, so let's run the statement, and then instead of printing out a 1 if it's true or nothing if it's false, we can get, okay, so we get file exists, and we get 1 from printing up here. So to any of these file test operators we can apply an if-else statement. Now I'll just put a little new line character in here. Now I'd like to show you a few more file test operators. Now we can check whether a file has 0 size with the Z file test operator. So this will return a 1 if this file has 0 size, or return nothing if it doesn't. So let's run this. Okay, well that file has 0 size because we've returned a 1. Another very useful file test operator is the S file test operator. Now this will return a non-zero size file, and this will actually tell us the size of the file. So we have a file here of non-zero size, our file 2, which is 242 bytes. So let's change this to file 2, and run our S file test operator, and this should tell us how many bytes our file is. 242 bytes. Now we can test whether a file or a directory is a directory. So with the D file test operator, so obviously this file.txt is not a directory. So let's run this and we get nothing come through here. Now if we change this to directory 1, because we have directory 1, and if we run this, then we should get a 1. We get 1. So that will test whether a file is a directory or not. So the if-else statement can be applied to any file test operator, and there's quite a few file test operators, but I would say the most useful is the E file test operator to check whether a file exists, and then probably the Z and the S file test operators